Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Maryl Petreccia on the line, and she's founder over at Maryl Petreccia, LLC, and she's also best-selling author of GPS to Joy, Navigate Life's Turbulence and Toughest Transitions to Find Your New Direction. Maryl, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Adam. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, I love having authors on the show, and I love helping them sell some books, too. For all my authors or all my audience that have been listening to me for a long time, we definitely want to go check out Meryl's book, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do, Maryl, tell us a little bit more about what you're doing over at Maryl Petreccia, LLC, please.
Sure. So I'm a multipreneur, and I have been since I was 21, and I am a high-performance joy coach and solution specialist, and I work with people professionally as well as personally to deal with where they might be stalled or stuck and to move them forward in the direction that is on what matters most to them now. And what I've created in terms of my business is something called the Joy Continuum, which is really an educational platform where wherever you are, I meet you there, and we walk up that journey back to joy as we take on whatever life throws at us and wrestle with it and really come back to what it is that we want.
And that's awesome. And I think that's a great transition to today's topic. So we're going to talk about using and leveraging tough life transitions. I mean, this is, something that you're doing on a daily basis, helping people with. I mean, where do you want us to start with this topic?
Sure. Well, the thing is, all right, life is, all it is transition. Moment to moment, hour to hour, right? It's just that we notice the big ones. But we are excellent at navigating transitions. And the game here of life, in my view, or the object, is to actually use and leverage the bigger transitions, even the tough transitions, to really catapult ourselves into a whole new experience of living our lives. And that is what the Joy Continuum does. It takes you wherever you are, it'll meet you there. And work with you and support you to move from a scale of 1 to 10 from wherever you are, which could even be -3, to 5. And frankly, on a scale of 1 to 10, the ultimate experience is life at 11 plus. And that is what the Joy Continuum provides, is a whole platform to take that journey.
So, there's only so much, obviously, of this that we're going to get into a 15-minute episode, but I do want to go just a little bit deeper into the Joy Continuum. Like, what kind of individuals is the program and is the philosophy typically right for? Because you've been doing this for a long time. Sure.
Well, at the Joy Continuum, there are 3 pillars. So the first pillar is the recover pillar, and so that really is for people who've just really been through it, and they might be feeling like they don't even know what to do next. So that pillar has programs and practices to really help you just even stand up, to even know what direction to start going into. The second pillar is the discover pillar. And inside of the discover pillar, that's when you actually get to uncover and unfold what you want to do now and what matters most now, because frankly, if something big happened, then there is no going back. There is only going forward, but a lot of times we don't even know what to step into. And that's the second pillar, is discovering, who am I now? What's important to me now? What brings me joy now? And there's a whole series of programs and trainings that let you explore that from from how to live your day and how to craft your life to finding love to managing your finances. So there's a whole bunch of different practices and trainings around what to do when you're in that stage. And then the third pillar is called amplify. So once you've sorted your life out and you know where you're going, then how do you go from doing your life to actually being the person that invites exactly what you want and beyond? And that is life at 11 plus. It's awesome, it's great, and it's what you expect and beyond what you expect. And so that's virtually the platform, and and those are the trainings and the opportunity.
Fantastic. I want to talk a little bit about your book. So GPS to Joy. Tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind why you wrote this.
Sure. So at the time, I had gone through a lot of loss, and the final piece was losing my husband to brain cancer. And before he died, I had made a vow to him, a promise, and that was that I didn't know how I would do it, but I would figure out to honor him and the legacy that he gave me in our marriage. I would figure out how to live an amazing life and to have joy in my life, to have happiness again. And so with that one promise, I then stepped into, well, what does that look like now? Because my plans are gone, right? Everything that I knew and planned for and everything I identified with was done. So I was back to not even square one. I was like clean slate. And so with the clean slate and that one promise, I said, well, let me start with one question. What brings me joy? Because I hadn't really ever fully explored that. So the book is a memoir on my exploration of that as I made my way through the spaces of grief and sadness and transition. And literally, I got to root myself in my own experience of self and my own competencies and my own worthiness, and as opposed to as a function of what I did. So GPS to Joy is my sharing my experience of that, including how the joy activation process came to be, which was a process I ended up using that I didn't even realize I was using to take on those challenges and identify what I really wanted, and then work through the 5 steps to actually find my new direction. And that's the genesis of the book.
Wow, what an amazing story, and what an amazing way to share it with people so that they can also benefit, because that doesn't sound like, number one, writing a book is not easy, number one, but number two, when you're doing a memoir, especially about something that's so personal, like that takes a lot of guts.
Thank you. Like I talked about in the book, I really got to know who I am, right? Through those challenges. I really got to look and see and acknowledge, wow, look how far I've come. Look at who I am. Look at what I can handle. Look at what I can generate. And, the joy activation process is a exceedingly simple method to come back to who you are and empowering you to be fully in your power, to no matter what the circumstances, to take your power back, to live your life based on what's important to you now. And that is, it's I don't know why it's so not clear, but, for us, but that's why I wrote the book, and it seems to really resonate with people.
Oh, it's resonating with me right now. So no, it's amazing. I love it, and I'm glad you went through what it took to get the work out there. So Maryl, if somebody is listening to this right now and they want more information on connecting with you and your team, either for the coaching, business consulting, or also to pick up a copy of your book, just overall, how do people connect with you and your brand and follow your work?
Oh, sure. Thank you. So, I do one-on-one coaching, and I'm doing group programs where I actually teach the joy activation process, a half-day intensive. And all that information is available on thejoyactivationprocess.com, and as well as the link to my book. And also, I am on LinkedIn, Maryl Petreccia, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So I can be found on social media, but thejoyactivationprocess.com gives a real deep dive in terms of the book and the joy activation process. I call it the Jumpstart Program, and that's what I'm focusing on right now, and it's making a huge difference for people.
Oh, one thing I didn't ask you about the program. What's the time frame? Like, how long does it last typically? or is it self-paced? Or give us a little bit of a feel for the actual like meat and potatoes of it, so to speak.
Sure. Currently, the Jumpstart program is a half day, and I am going to migrate it into a month program where I'm on live once a week, and we'll move through the different steps together and be available. And that'll be also a group program. So it can either be done in a half a day, because some people don't want to do it over time, or I'm actually creating it to be, bite-sized over a month for people, depending on what they need. So that's what's happening.
Oh, that's huge. I love it. I'm a big fan of that. Like they can either get it all at one time and they get a certain percentage, or they can work in at different paces and connect directly with you in the group environment. I think both are really good formats, and some work for some people, some work for others. So I love it that that you recognize that and you're catering to your audience. So one more time, I don't think everybody had a chance to write down your website address. How do people reach you again?
www.thejoyactivationprocess.com.
Fantastic. Well, Maryl, thank you again for coming on the show and sharing more about your journey and your awesome book, GPS to Joy. Everybody listening to this, definitely go grab a copy of that. It was really easy to find. I just went to Amazon and I just put in GPS to Joy. It popped right up, put in Meryl's name. I mean, really easy stuff there, and definitely worth your read. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review in the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Maryl, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks so much, Adam. So appreciate it.